New evidence once more demonstrates that attempts to get North Korea back to the denuclearization talks is just a waste of breath. Updates on migrants and refugees in the region, and after China flexed its muscles, more nations prepare for potential turmoil in the South China Sea. These stories are coming up next. This is the Asia Brief. Good morning, everyone. Steve Miller here on this Tuesday, September 8th, 2015. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's begin with Kim Jong-un's pursuit of nuclear weapons. The International Atomic Energy Agency announced on Monday that North Korea was renovating and building facilities at its Yongbyon nuclear site. This is significant, as Yongbyon plays a central role in North Korea's nuclear weapons development program. Remember that back in April, it was reported that satellite imagery showed activity at the site's main nuclear reactor may have resumed. So with the DPRK looking to renovate and expand the facility, it sends a clear message that Kim Jong-un has no intentions on backing away from his weapons pursuit. China called upon North Korea last week to come back to the table in an effort to restart the six-party talks between China, the United States, Japan, Russia, and of course both Koreas. The last such discussions took place some 6 years ago. Now, I've long said that the talks were not only dead, but a waste of time. This latest development sends a clear message to Beijing, Washington, and Seoul. Screw you. This is my house, and I'm going to do what I want. Nothing the international community has done has made a difference in deterring North Korea's pursuit of nuclear weapons over the past 6 to 10 years. Kim continues to make progress, and the question now really becomes, what will leaders do when he conducts the next test? Inaction, which has been par for the course, will tacitly be a mark of approval. If the United Nations and other members of the six-party talks are serious about preventing Pyongyang from acquiring this weapons technology, then they must answer these questions. When will it be enough? When will we acknowledge we failed? When will we make the necessary changes? Last Thursday, an overloaded wooden boat sank off Malaysia's coast. It carried at least 80 migrants, most likely from Indonesia, who were pursuing better conditions and employment at construction sites, plantations, and factories, and as domestic help. Unfortunately, only about 20 people are believed to have survived the boat sinking. The dead were mostly men, with one toddler on board. Malaysia's Maritime Agency's Search and Rescue Director, Robert Tay, told reporters. In related news, Australia will accept more refugees from camps bordering Syria and Iraq and is open to providing more financial assistance, Prime Minister Tony Abbott said on Sunday, while adding that a strong security response was needed for the region. Abbott has been championing a strong response to the threat of ISIS, and his government is due to decide this week if it will join in airstrikes against Islamic State fighters in Syria. Quote, "It is important that there be a humanitarian response, but it's important that there be a strong security response as well." End quote. This was Abbott speaking to reporters earlier. One thing Abbott didn't clarify in his press conference was whether or not Australia would increase its overall humanitarian intake. It's currently set at about 14,000 individuals annually, meaning that if the nation takes more Syrian refugees, the nation may not accept others. No surprises here. Indonesia said it will strengthen its weaponry systems on Natuna Island in order to anticipate future threats from the South China Sea dispute. Located 550 kilometers east of Batam Island, Natuna borders Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Malaysia and is the nation's closest point of contact to the South China Sea. "We will equip Natuna with a port and extend its military airbase runway. The runway should be enough to accommodate 4 jet fighters," Indonesia's defense minister told journalists. He continued, quote, "We are not in a war situation, but the South China Sea is very close to us. We have to be prepared. Our weaponry systems are good, but we need to add more weapons so that we don't need to worry all the time." End quote. In other maritime news, South Korea's Ministry of National Defense said Monday it will send one of its warships to a naval parade in Japan next month and conduct joint search and rescue exercises. It's expected this would take place sometime in mid to late October. This would be the second time South Korea has participated in Japan's fleet parade, the first of which being in 2002. The search and rescue exercises will be the ninth such joint operation. You see? Despite all the political wrangling, these two countries can work together. And that, as they say, is that. Those are the stories for today. Please take a moment and let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. The Asia Brief is a special feature of the Asia News Weekly podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please share it with your friends, and if you haven't, subscribe. Subscribing is free, and when you do, the next episode is delivered automatically to you. You can subscribe on our website, asianewsweekly.net, or in your favorite podcast application. You can also keep up with more news from the region by following Asia News Weekly on Facebook or Twitter. And if you have any comments, questions, or feedback, be sure to drop us a line. That email address is podcast@asianewsweekly.net. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, remember to be true to yourself and to always be awesome.